Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting us here. I am Mikkel Sorensen, and I'm a principal and architect at the Copenhagen-based office, Christensen and Co. This doesn't work. No. So I'm the stupid one now. So you have to show me. Aha, yes. The arrow forward, of course. Who would have thought? Well, still doesn't work. Okay, so this is where we live. We have the two top floors in this building here. And actually, when when this graffiti appeared on the outer wall, we were actually designing a big pharmaceutical office building in our office. And I don't think that there's any relations intended in this, but it gave us the idea that use this format here, New Together, to talk about relations in architecture and the power of relations in architecture, and how we use relations as a design driver in our office. So we work mainly with community-based buildings such as schools and learning spaces, cultural centers, sports facilities, and so on. And when we do that, we're focusing a lot of the contextual relations, the spatial relations, and the personal relations we create. And of course, also we're very aware that nothing stands alone, and everything we bring to the table we put there, and it will interfere and have a relationship with what's already there. That is, of course, because our mind is a very extraordinary complex machinery designed to constantly seek relationships. That's why we're curious, that's why we are playful and thoughtful. We basically always use all our senses to understand and interact with the world from our perspective, and to put it in perspective with our knowledge and our sort of experience and memory. So we also masters at copying and imitating each other. We're very visual in that sense, and have an inbuilt understanding on the exchanges and the informal negotiation that takes place constantly between us. That's really how we learn to communicate and socialize and build communities. So in a time where we are being pushed, like digital communities are pushing out analog communities, and where also loneliness are being considered a real challenge in an ever-expanding world, we think that architects actually holds the potential to unfold and promote this, even maybe enhance it even more. And at our office, we consider ourselves really as makers of relationships and interaction. So I have a few projects, and I'll see if I have time for it all. But we always work on different layers of relations. This project here is the KB Hall in Copenhagen, and you can say it's a cultural relation. The original KB Hall, as you see here, looked like this. It was a very legendary venue space in Copenhagen that unfortunately built in the 30s. Unfortunately, it burnt down in 2011. And our assignment was basically to rebuild it, but in a modern and up-to-date version. The client wanted to avoid making some of the mistakes from the old one, focus on acoustics, functionality, and so on, and giving it a more open and inviting character. So what we did was that we kept some of the original formalistic features, like the characteristic arch, the slab for the spectators, but still in a redesigned and developed way. So it turned out like this, larger and with a more open character. As you see, we opened up the arch facade with the glass facade, so it's more inviting, and one could say that it looks nothing like the old one. But interesting enough, the people that attend the concerts and the musicians playing there are still referring to it as this legendary Kobe Hall venue space, even though it's completely new. The next example here is a sports facility we did in Copenhagen. It's a little bit outskirts of Copenhagen, and it was kind of a rough neighborhood. And the municipality wanted to create a sense of security and to use the activities inside the sports hall to maybe push away the not so welcomed activities on the outside. So we designed this space where inside and outside were seamlessly connected, so that the sports activities on the inside would reflect positively on the outside. And you can see that it worked. There's a really nice sort of community around the building now, with the flea markets and concerts and just hang out and kayak and all sorts of things that have really turned the area around. And from the inside always you have this visual direct connection to the outside. This project here is a project where we actually wanted to bring the outside inside the building. It's in the Danish Technical University. It's called DTU Compute, and it's for researchers, students, and teachers. Very often when we work with these kind of clients, we especially the researchers, we discuss how open the spaces can be. They want smaller offices where they are undisturbed and separated from everybody, but we want to nourish the interdisciplinary relations, so we convinced them to look at it a little different. So we made these 8 smaller towers within the building envelope, and they're connected with walkways, and on the ground floor you have breakout zones, and in that way we convinced them that they are able to scale the level of interaction and keep the privacy even though they are in a very open space. So the ground floor here works as, under the canopies here are the neutral grounds for the students and everybody to meet and have social and professional connections. While you have to move up to the researchers that are then on the walkways up there. But you always have this visual connection to each other. Today actually the ground floor has become a really popular destination for the campus, so there's a lot of students from other institutes that are also there as well, which makes it a great space for interdisciplinary connections as well. So lastly, the cultural house that we have on display here today. This is a fairly small and simple community house in a small village type city, and where they're really experiencing a lack of community because the city was drained from activities and people from the sort of larger cities around, which is a very common problem in smaller towns. So the municipality decided to make a new type of center. They brought together the library, the local archive, the workshops, the stage, a small venue space, and then also the public service facilities. To that way make a reason for everybody to go there and meet. And we designed that with a very open ground floor space where everybody can meet together. There's a cafe, and you have entrances on both sides, so there's no backside to the building. And then we made this open big staircase to move up into the library and the local archive. We always had this in mind that everywhere there's a program overlap, we try to create these interaction spaces for the more informal meet and greet, and choose materials and atmosphere that let everybody feel at home and welcome, regardless of purpose, age, and interest. From the outside, the characteristic profile of the building here was to reconnect the scale to the village, also with the common typology of the streetscape. The ceramic facade is a homage to the former dairy production that was on the side, and also to establish a timeless sense of belonging and reconnection to especially for the older inhabitants to the site, but all to get a sense of community and belonging and ownership and pride to the city environment, to make it last longer and to create new communities and relationships. Because at the end of the day, no one is an island, and none of the problems that we're facing today are, as a society, is solved in solitude. So that's all for me.